Right. I think we are live. Let's see. Cool. Well, welcome everybody. Just want to make sure that we are doing this right. Look, can you do me a favor? Go on YouTube and look up the gallery. We are. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Emerge Gallery. My name is Robert Langdon, and we're here in Saugerties. I'm here at the gallery. What we're going to be talking about today is a virtual exhibition. It is exclusively on artsy.net. And we've got 37 artists that are here joining us today to talk about their work. The theme of the show is orange. It's really interesting. Orange is not really a color that I've given any thought to before. And then just recently over the summer, actually while I was doing one of the first virtual shows, I just discovered that artists were using orange more than I thought they were, or more than I paid any attention to. I don't know if perhaps artists are using a little more orange. And it's interesting because when I brought the theme up, I was talking to some artists and they're saying, well, I don't really use much orange in my work, but then they would get back to me and say, I'm really surprised how much orange I use in my work. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to feature that color. So the work that you're going to see here today is work that so either the work is predominantly orange or your eye is drawn to the orange element in the piece of work. The show is called Orange Juice, and we're going to look at each piece. I'm going to go through pretty quickly and really give the time for the artists that are joining us to spend a little more time on camera. So for the artists that are not here, I'm just going to present the work and move on from there. So let's start the tour. So this is Orange Juiced, art featuring the color orange. It's available on artsy.net. Just look for Emerge Gallery NY. Our first piece is by Gary Abrams. Gary, are you here? And for the folks that are joining us, I do have you all on mute, so make sure you unmute yourself when you're ready to talk. Okay. So this is the first piece. This is by Gary Abramson. This work is called Orange in Dish. It's gouache, and it's 4x6, was created in 2020. Our second piece, this is a collage by Luis Alves. Luis is an artist in West Orange, New Jersey. This is a handmade collage created in 2018 called Walking with the Dinosaurs. And our next piece is by Agnes Barber, and Agnes is here with us. Oh, here you are.
Hi again, Robert.
All right.
Hi.
Agnes, tell us about this piece.
Hi. Well, I'm an acrylic artist, and it does suit my personality, acrylics, because you can work quickly with it. Same thing with the orange. I don't use a lot, but with fall colors and all that, I love to use orange. And I was coming home one night, and a plane had taken off, and it was just getting to be dark, and the sun picked up the contrails on it, which really was beautiful. It looked like they were on fire. And I just put it away. Like all of us, we take pictures with an intention to paint it, and then it gets put aside for a while and you forget you took the picture. And when this orange juice came up, I started going through my pictures and I came across it. And you're actually looking at the plane from underneath because it had taken up over top of us. And so that's underneath the plane. And it just, impressed me with all that orange. As far as the stars, I kind of added them in and worked my way up to a nighttime scene. But basically, that's about it. I didn't take long to do this because couple of days and I had done it. So I was really happy when it got into the show because I was doing a lot of pet portraits and it's a lot of definition and I needed something to loosen me up so I wouldn't work so hard all the time and just have fun with. And I had fun with it and it got in the show and I'm very happy. So, that's about it. Yeah.
Pleased to have it. It's a fun little piece.
Yes, it is. It was fun doing and creating. So thank you very much and stay well, everybody.
My pleasure. Thanks, Agnes.
You're welcome.
Our next artist, this is work by Lowell Barr. Lowell is an artist in Saugerties. This piece here is called Porch. It's a photograph created in 2018. This second piece is called Edna in the Garden. It's a collage. Lowell has Lowell, is one of those artists that uses a lot of different materials in her work, and she's always challenging herself to, create the next best thing. And I'm always impressed with what Lowell comes up. So these are two of her latest. Our next piece is by Harriet Foreman Burnett. Harriet, are you here with us?
It's Barrett, Harriet Foreman Barrett.
Yes, Barrett.
Yeah.
Where are you? Wave for me if you don't mind, so I can find you.
Can you find me?
No, I'm not seeing you.
You saw me before, said hello.
Oh, here you are. Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
All right, come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very grateful that I'm part of this. Being 73, it startles me that it's been 51 years of doing my art professionally, both as a painter, a jewelry designer, and bronze sculptures. Because of that, when I did this, being older, I did this oil on canvas after Elijah Cummings and John Lewis passed. And the weight of a lineage that we all are part of, the shoulders that we stand on from others before us really came through to me. And the infinity of it all and the endless connection to all of us that we are brought me to do this. I was surprised that I've been using orange. I sent in like a few with orange because I was really surprised that in fact, orange is very, very healing and powerful. So that was also, part of the reasoning for using my colors.
Wonderful. It's a gorgeous piece. When you really focus in on it, you can see so much detail. My
work takes quite a long time, several weeks, and because there are layers, many more layers than I think at first glance you get. And then I'm always tweaking it because I have to get out of my own way to see what's really asking to be presented. And so then there's a subtle plays on it. And I'm always in awe of what comes through. And I try to honor that.
Yeah.
But with that, there's a tweaking of even the slides like violets and all that just make it pop more and make it glow and make it become, for me, energy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very spiritual piece too. I mean, it definitely has a real spiritual element to it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for joining us. And our next artist, this is Ed Berkey's. This is called Orange Mood and Dance. Ed has been creating a lot with has a whole bull series, and this is one of them. Randy Bloom. This is one of my favorite pieces in the show. Randy, are you here? You want to join us? Say something about your work? Oh, here you are. You're on mute, Randy. There you go. No? I think you're still on mute.
Why don't you speak for me, please, Robert?
Okay.
You did mine last time. Thank you. I just realized though I'm sitting in front of an orange stripe painting as well.
I see that, yeah. Okay, great, I'd be happy to. I saw this piece, and this was one of the pieces that actually sort of spurred me to have an orange show. I saw this piece over at Randy's studio when I had it visited over there, and I just loved it. I just thought it was fantastic. So we have this piece here, and then it's called Nice and Easy with acrylic on panel. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Lesley. Welcome back, Lesley.
Hi, Robert. How you doing?
I'm good. Let me find you and bring you up here. Here you are. So this is Lesley. This is Lesley Bodzy. Lesley, tell us about this piece here. It's the orange wall rag from one of your series.
Yes, so this is from my series called Wrapping and Unveiling. And it's a series of what I call wall drapes or wall rags. And it's made entirely of acrylic paint with some acrylic. And it's really kind of a realist object because I think it looks like fabric, but when you get close to it, it's actually paint.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. You can actually play with it. You can take it off the wall. You can rearrange it any way you want. I mean, you could put it on your head if you want, but it's meant to go on the wall. Yeah. And in this series, I have some other drapey things, some of which hang from the ceiling, some of which go on the floor. So it's kind of a fun series that's surrealistic.
And it's very playful. Yeah, Lesley has, you know, one of the things about her work is it's really playful, and some pieces like the wall rags here are very interactive. You can, you know, switch them around in different configurations. You could see more of Lesley's work, including the pieces from the wall rag series on Artsy. I do have a solo show of Randy's up. I'm sorry, Lesley's up right now, called Wrapping and Unveiling. And it's a great collection of her work. So please have a look. The wall rags are on there, and she's got some really wonderful plexiglass sculptures. If you were at the gallery last month, you probably saw her sculptures in the window. They were in the window for August. Really, really fun. Thanks, Lesley. Always a pleasure.
Robert, nice to see you.
Thanks. Okay, Elizabeth Caputo. Elizabeth, I saw you here. Let me pull you up.
Can you hear me this time?
I can hear you.
Am I decent?
Excellent. Here you are. Welcome.
Okay. Hey.
This is called Affected.
Yes. So this was my third piece. I actually had trouble doing something that pretty much just focused on the orange. And when I was looking particularly what kind of shade I was looking for, I stumbled upon the Hindu Festival of Color, and they had such beautiful, rich pigments. And then I thought, I don't know, maybe I can do something with a spray of color on someone's face, but my woman looked just way too melancholy. So I went for, how are we affected? Something inside coming out. And I don't know. I mean, it was my third piece. So this was the only one that you really focused on the orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a real dark side to it too, which
it does
immediately drawn to.
It's a little, I don't know. It was sad, but she's pretty, you know. She looks effective.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Good to see you.
No problem. You too.
All right. All right, who do we have next? Okay. Our next artist is Isabel Cotarello. And I'm sorry, let me just pull up that piece. Oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Okay. All right, so this is Isabel's piece. It's called it's Relation Series number 4. This is a mixed media sculpture. It's burned plastic, 3D pens, and acrylic, and it measures 11 by 11, all the way around by 11. And Isabel lives in Kingston, right here in the Hudson Valley. Our next piece is called Orange Crush by Lisa D'Amico. Lisa lives in Nanuet, New York. This is acrylic on canvas. It measures 16 by 20. And we've got 2 pieces by Maxine Davidovitz. And I saw Maxine here. I'm going to bring you up.
Hi.
Here we go. Maxine, here you are. Okay.
Great. Hi.
Welcome.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So I was one of those artists who you asked if we ever used orange.
Yes.
And I said, I don't think so. And then I went home and remembered that I have been working on a series of pieces called Terra Infirma that were homages to environmentally challenged regions in the world. And one of the biggest ones, one of the major pieces that I was working on was about the Amazon rainforest. And I tend to do a painting on a subject and then go into the studio, the printmaking studio, and riff off what the painting suggests to me. So both of these, although the first one you put up is a smaller collage made from sort of outtakes of monotypes. But this one, which is also behind me here, is much larger. It's on a full sheet of BFK Reeves, and it was an actual monotype. So there's no cutting and pasting here. This was right off the press in the studio. And again, it was an inspiration that came from a series of paintings about the Amazon rainforest fires.
Nice.
It got a lot prettier, obviously, here, but anyway, and I still desperately miss doing the monotypes in the printmaking studio and dream of the day when I can be back in the studio.
That's I've been hearing from a lot of artists who are using this is the Woodstock
School of Art under Kate McLaughlin, the printmaking studio group. But again, this is unframed on a very large piece of BFK Reeves, and when it's framed with a lot of white space, it makes a pretty dramatic piece.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
Thanks.
And then here's the other as well.
And this is the other, and this one's a little smaller, and again, it's cut and pasted, collaged from a few other monotypes that weren't quite as successful. So I got another shot at it by making the composition up from a couple of images and slicing them together, which has been really fun. Again, a COVID-inspired work. And I know you have several of my others from this series now on Artsy from different shows. And I truly appreciate their presence on Artsy. Thank you very much.
They're gorgeous. If you're moved by this and drawn to this to Maxine's work, definitely have a look on Artsy. There's a number of pieces from this series as well as other series and individual pieces right on.
I always thank you for your support, Robert.
Hey, I couldn't do it without you all, so thank you for all your support. I appreciate it. Thanks, Maxine.
Sure.
Good to see you. All right, our next artist is Nancy deFlon. And I just saw Nancy here before.
Can you hear me, Robert?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right.
Okay, great.
Excellent. Great. Welcome, Nancy.
Thanks for having me, Robert. Well, I've got two photographs here. I'm a photographer. I work mostly outdoors, and so the time of year when I mostly encounter orange is right now during foliage season. And the two pieces I have, The two pieces I have in this show are the kind of contrasting, and the one you see before you now, the autumn palette, was a grab shot. I just took in a parking lot. The next one was more carefully planned, and this one is White Mountain birches. I took it in the north of New Hampshire, the White Mountains, where there are loads and loads of birch trees. And the trick is finding the place where you're really going to get a good photograph. And photographically, this is my favorite birch tree spot in that area of New Hampshire. It's always a challenge to get something that's not kind of, cliche looking. I think I managed this time anyway. What I like about birch trees, especially when you see a lot of them together like that, is they have what I call the delicate stateliness about them. There's a dignity, a stateliness that not the kind that you would see in sequoias in California, but it's their own kind. And again, they're thinner, they're a bit more vulnerable looking. They're just the contrast of those two things going together just appeals to me. And when I took this picture, I like to give a painterly treatment to my pictures sometimes. And what I did in this case, I used a filter that did two important things. One, it softened the contrast between the shadow and the light on the tree trunks themselves, because you can get a nasty light and you get black and white, and certainly in a color photograph like that, you don't want it. And so that took care of that. And the second thing is it softened the details, say on the bottom. Now, so if you're deliberately photographing a forest floor at this time of year, you probably want detailed leaves. But with this kind of picture, you really don't. But you need to have them there. So what I normally do is I try to find a filter that's going to soften that. So you see the color and you kind of see the nice pattern, but you don't see the detail of the trees conflicting with the main part of the picture itself.
Yeah, I think you did a beautiful job. I did receive, understandably, a lot of submissions of some fall scenes, but there were only a handful that I did take. I really like the movement that you created in this piece. It's really gorgeous.
This one, if anyone's interested, anybody knows the area, this one was taken along the Mount Washington Auto Road, the visitor center there on Route 16. So you're standing there and first, you've got those, and then you turn your back to those, and you've got Mount Washington.
Beautiful.
Right.
Thanks, Nancy. There's also a number of other of Nancy's photographs on Artsy as well. So please have a look. A lot of seascapes as well. Nancy's a really nice nature photographer. Thanks so much, Nancy. Good to see you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Caroline Duffy. Caroline, I think I see you. Can you wave to me? There you are. Yep. Okay. I'm pleased to have Caroline. Caroline, I believe, is from Los Angeles. Is that right? I think you're on mute. Oh, you're muted, Caroline. You need to unmute.
Oh, I got it.
There you go. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Yeah.
Welcome to the East
So
Coast.
I am from Los Angeles, and this painting is one I did of my sister recently during quarantine. And it was the first painting I've ever used orange for, so it was definitely new.
Have you used orange before, or you said this is the first one?
Yeah, pretty much the first one. And I guess the reason why I was like compelled to use it is because during this whole time since we've been under like strict lockdown, my sister has just always been so strong and really persevering throughout this whole thing. Yeah. So it kind of was just like a natural color choice for me to really represent that.
Yeah, and orange is a very comforting color too. A very spiritual and nurturing color. Yeah, and it works beautifully in this piece.
Yeah, and basically with this piece, I was really excited. It was one of my first real portraitures that I've done. And I think the thing for me was mixing abstraction and then realism in the same picture. I think it's more evocative because you can really see the strength of her character. And I hope that comes through by looking at it. But yeah, just a big inspiration. So I was really happy to make this piece. And I hope that people can see this and feel hopeful, or maybe some sort of resilience in the face of everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, and the orange is striking in the middle of all of the the black sort of mayhem that's going on behind her. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. And for that one, I actually left a lot of the canvas completely raw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally just like one layer. So I was trying to make it really seem like it was coming at you, and trying to make it very clear the difference between the refined layers, where I think on her face, I have layers where it's up to 8. To make it clear that it's the surface that I'm working on to make the material stand out more, with some of it being very rough and then other parts of it being very defined. I think that's like an interesting concept to go on, and it makes for an interesting piece, in my opinion.
Yeah, really nice. Well, welcome to the East Coast. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you again.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All right, our next piece is by Michael Egan. Michael is an artist over in Beacon, and I was just talking to Michael yesterday, and he does a lot of minimalism. This isn't one of them, but he's got some really gorgeous work in other shows as well. He does a lot of woodwork. So this is Michael Egan. And then we've got 2 pieces by Timothy Ebnith. Timothy is also a Hudson Valley artist. These are both acrylic and collage on paper. Timothy lives in Kinderhook, New York, on the other side of the river from Saugerties. So this is the first piece. And then this is the second piece called In the Garden of Eden. And I like, there's quite a bit of pink in here, but I really like the way that the orange just popped out. Okay, Susan Murphy. Susan, did I see you here? Here you are. Great. You're muted, Susan. You need to unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you.
And Susan has 2 photographs here. So I'll bring them both up, and then you tell me where you want me to land, Susan.
Well, either one of them.
Okay, let's start with this.
Both of them are sort of the same sort of circumstance where I had my camera in my hand and an image presented it to my eye, and I was able to get it, the way I wanted it. And both of these please me a lot to look at for very, very different reasons. Obviously the stripes of this are so, and the contrast of the blue and the orange, to me are very pleasing. And I also like the juxtaposition of the man-made or the human-made structure with the vast eternal blue of the sky that forms so much of the background of our lives, And then the other one, my husband and I were taking a walk on Equinox Mountain right after a rain, and I went to take a step and stopped myself from stepping on this beautiful little leaf, and was able to capture it in a satisfactory way. So that's it, I also like the ground behind leaf has such an interesting contrast, the pattern and the color and the texture are so different.
And the raindrops fit beautifully with it too.
And the raindrops are just glorious. So
I wanted to mention too that in this you'll see a lot of really great blue and orange combinations. I think they really work beautifully with each other.
Oh, and I also wanted to say that in honor of the orange show, I came in green.
Green among green. Great. Well, thank you so much, Susan. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, our next piece is by, these are fused glass, and these are by Joan Ensmere. Ensminger. They're fused glass. The first piece is 13 by 8 and the other is 12 by 4, created in 2019. And Joan lives over in Rhinebeck. This is by Patrick Farley. Patrick is an artist that does a lot of pointillism. Patrick lives in Claverack, New York, and he does a lot of pop culture references. All right, and then Mira Fink. Mira, are you here? Here you are. Great. You're on mute. Let me.
Okay.
Here you are. Welcome. Welcome back.
Hi there.
And this is, I had mentioned before that I was getting a lot of submissions in for some autumn scenes, and you know, mirrors are just gorgeous. Really fantastic work. So welcome, Mira.
Thank you. You got a little blue line on the screen. I'm not sure why on the right side. Maybe you don't see it. Well, I love the autumn landscape, and I get really excited when I see the bright colors of autumn. It makes me so excited that I just want to go out and paint as much as I possibly can during the limited time that they're there. So this piece is actually was from a walk I took right on the road where I live, and there was these kind of bright colors and shafts of light that were coming through at that time of day, and I just really wanted to capture the intensity of all the colors, and there's just this sort of vivacity of life that comes from being surrounded by these beautiful bright colors. Something about it that really appeals to me strongly. So this piece, like I said, is I did from one of my walks up the road. The other piece, if you could put that on, one of the things I do in the autumn is I just grab my sketchbook and my paints and I start wandering around outside in our area until I see something that I really want to paint. And I stopped, this one is up, I can't even tell you what road it is, but I just know I was wandering around, and you could see some of the Catskill Mountains in the background there. And when I saw that row of orange trees with the shaft of light coming through behind it, I just got very excited, and I did a whole bunch of sketches there. And then I actually did this one back in the studio in acrylics. The other one is watercolor. And I like the way it came out. Yeah, that's the watercolor one there. So I just get really excited about the intensity of color in general. And with fall, I just can't stop painting. I'm just like, my husband knows I come home and I'm like, okay, my back hurts, but I've got to go back out again. It's just what happens to me because it's such a limited season where we have this rainbow. So I try to take advantage of it as much as I can.
Well, if you aren't on the East Coast, we're just getting right into our fall season right now, and the leaves are just starting to turn all of these really wonderful oranges and reds and yellows. And
yeah, this is a little further along, but you know, I actually love it this time of year right now, where we just have pieces of orange or red or yellow, and then a lot of green.
Yeah, they're really beautiful, and you capture them beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and thanks for including me.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. All right. This next piece is by a dear friend of mine, Monica Fiorentini, who I know from my days in San Francisco, and she is now living in Portugal. So she saw the call for art, I think, on my social media and sent this photograph in, which I thought was really beautiful. So I included that as well. Andrea Geller. Andrea, welcome. Andrea I've known Andrea for quite some time. Andrea is an artist in Paramus, New Jersey. These are two pieces that she'll talk about. I also wanted to mention that up on Artsy, I had done a solo show of Andrea's work before. She has a whole bath series, really gorgeous oil works on panel that are different stages of getting in and out of the bath. Really gorgeous. So please have a look at them. And Andrea, tell us about these two pieces. Welcome.
Thank you. I always enjoy these, Robert. So thanks again for including my work in these two exhibitions for October. So this first painting that we're looking at is titled Standing Figure, and it's part of a larger series I titled Walking. And I started doing the walking series a few years back because I was inspired, well, I'm inspired by motion and my own movement in particular, but also movement around me because the world is always in flux. And so I did some research regarding it, and I'm just going to read very quickly what I came up with. Human beings populated the globe through movement along coastlines and continents, and it is movement that has been a key to human survival. Walking series addresses this theme. It's the presence of the figure and sometimes its absence that also suggests time change. So orange played a role in both of these works. This one, Standing Figure, and then the second one that Robert just put up is called Human Race, Baltic Region, because the orange, incidentally, was put on as the last color. And I'm a very intuitive painter. I could try to map out what I'm doing, and I do structurally, but when the brush goes to the surface, I go somewhere and out comes paintings. And sometimes they just have to be reworked and reworked until I get what I call a completed image. And so that last orange, I think, had to come on because it's the contrast of the blues. But this also is an important series I just started because my dad passed away a couple of years ago, and he left a lot of books. And a few of his books were maps, and he loved maps. I love maps, if you like, I guess, figuring out the earth this way. So I started working on these maps, and it's kind of taking on a life of its own because I'm finding the regions, and then I'm finding relationships to what I'm putting on the specific region. And it's curious because this latest piece I'm doing actually talks about the Selma marches because I got my hands on some United States maps. So I think this series has places to go. Robert, I don't know if we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. I love the use of maps here. And I like this series a lot. I know you've been exploring different ways to use it. There's some other works that I've included in some of the shows too, but I like where you're going with this.
Thank you. I just want to add that these are acrylic also. I should say that I changed medium, which I like to do because sometimes you get too comfortable when you know the medium very well. So I moved out of the oils and into acrylic, and now I'm trying to figure out all sorts of transparencies with all the mediums that are out there. So it keeps my mind very active. Thank you.
And then Andrea has a pool series too, where you'll next month the Tell Me a Story show at the gallery. There's going to be a couple pieces in there from that. So stay tuned. Thanks, Andrea.
And thank you again.
Absolutely. Oh, Patty Gibbons. Okay, this is work by Patty Gibbons. Patty is an artist in Kingston, and Patty had given me something to read about her piece. Orange, the complement of blue. They make each other sing in an artwork, the yin and the yang. Though I work mainly in cool colors, orange is a necessary partner for balance and emphasis. This piece that's up now is called Full Fathom 5. It's titled after a piece by Shakespeare from The Tempest. Full fathom 5, thy father lies, of his bones and coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly ring his knell. Hark, now I hear them, ding dong bell. It's from The Tempest, Act 1, Scene 2. The second piece is called Trio, T-R-E-E-O. And this piece is a play on words. I love plays on words and often incorporate them into imagery or titles. Trio, an homage to the power of three and trees. Trees are life and shelter to many creatures and insects and clean the air we breathe. I cringe every day or every time I hear the sound of a chainsaw in my neighborhood. Oil on paper, the palette knife enables me to give the piece energy and movement by scraping into the surface of the paint. The orange screams change is coming against the calm of the deep blue sky. So that is Patty Gibbons. These are Marianne Glass. Marianne is a photographer over in, she's on the other side of the river in Wappingers Falls. I like these are, Marianne uses apps a lot of times on her, her photography. This one is called Diner. And then this one is called Parrot Tulip, which I didn't know there was such thing as a parrot tulip, but I love them, they're beautiful. Okay. This is a piece by Kathryn Gordon. And Kathryn, are you here? Kathryn is in Cohees. Let's see. Do I see you here on my screen? If you are, wave, Kathryn, if you're here, so I can see you. No, I don't see you. Okay, so this is by Kathryn Gordon. And the piece is, it's called Drift. It's acrylic on canvas done in 2020, and it's 16 by 20.
You did it.
All right, the next piece is by Barbara Gordon. This piece by Barbara Gordon is, it's called Autumn Comfort. It's oil and gouache on wood panel, 11.5 by 12 in 2019. And Barbara, are you here?
Yes, hi. Can you see me?
Let me see. I see you. Yep, I'm gonna bring you up right now.
Okay.
Welcome.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
I didn't, I must say, I really have, been so pleasantly surprised to listen to your other Zoom thing on black and white. And that was what made me want to join this group. But I'm not so familiar with it. So I wrote something about this painting. This is called Autumn Comfort. Color is the engine that drives my work. Although much of my work remains highly abstract, early in my career, during the time I spent in Paris, I went beyond the boundaries of abstract expressionism that was so dominant during my student days at Cooper Union in the 60s. And I often turned to figurative references like landscape that broadened my work. This piece, Autumn Comfort, was painted on found wood. Very often I work with wood because it gives me great comfort. It makes me think of the tree it came from. It's part of nature, and so am I. Hence the title of the work, Autumn Comfort. In my daily walk on the rail trail beside my studio, especially at this time of year, I'm surrounded by the color orange, a magical combination of reds and yellows, and a brilliant response to the still dominant greens and blues above me and below me. On the path, beauty and light are constantly changing. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. It's lovely, and I'm glad we got in touch, Barbara.
Me too. I appreciate it a lot.
All right. Next, Tom Hackett. Tom is an artist over in Kingston, photographer over in Kingston, who's been in a number of the shows before. This is called Ducks. It's digital photography from 2019, 18 by 12 framed to 24 by 18. And then the next one I thought was really interesting. Understandably, I received a lot of submissions for oranges or with oranges in the art. And I thought this was a clever take on the oranges. The piece is called Ingestion for 3 Oranges. It's 2019, and that's a photograph as well. The next piece of art, this is by Melissa Harris. This is called Still Life with Cat. And this is oil on canvas. And Melissa lives in West Hurley, here in the Hudson Valley. These 2 pieces are by Sarah Harris. Sarah lives here in the Hudson Valley. Sarah lives in Kingston. She has a great way with color. And I'm not surprised at all that Sarah uses a lot of orange in her work. This one is called Creamsicle Dreamsicle. And then this second piece is called Loving Orange. Both of them are oil. This is oil on board. Dorothea, I saw you here. This is Dorothea Marcus. And let's pull you up, Dorothea. Here you are.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Robert, for doing this.
My pleasure.
You know, it's so great because it really helps foster a feeling of community among artists when we're kind of deprived of a lot of our usual gathering places. And, you know, I really appreciate that you do this.
Well, it keeps me going too. So
yeah,
your activity all keeps me going.
And you know, I guess in the last few years, I know you've usually done a show based on red, and then I think there was a blue show, and with orange, I think, as I told you, and you said this is very common, I thought, well, I have to look in my work and see what I may have, and both of these collages were done a few years ago. This one is called Coffee. I'll go back to coffee because I used some coffee filters. If you can see the paper in the middle, you know, it's a mixed media collage, but I loved using the texture of the coffee filters. And as Patty Gibbons said earlier, of course, blue and orange are always great together. And the other pieces in the collage are cut up either painted paper that I've done or photographs or cards from artists' exhibits, whatever. And the other piece is called The Orange Stands Alone. And that is, features, I'm always very drawn. I'm a collector as well as an artist. And I have several paintings that actually feature turquoise and orange together. I'm always very drawn to that combination. And then I discovered that Alice Walker had written an essay called Turquoise and Coral. And apparently there's something very spiritual about the combination of turquoise and coral. But when I do collages, I work very quickly. It's just very intuitive. And I love playing with the shapes and colors. And I think it is funny that orange, people loved when I told them the show was called Orange Juiced. They loved that title. It made people smile. So I'm glad you did it. And orange is a color, you know, colors have fads. And I kind of associate orange, I think, with the 70s.
I did too. It's funny you say that because I wanted to put that in the press release, and I really want to, you know, just revive orange. I think of like 2 colors of the 70s are definitely orange and avocado green.
And you'll see orange if you look at design, you know, like home design and stuff, like orange objects are very popular right now. So you're with the trend, Robert.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
And there's a few pieces of Dorothea's also up on Artsy. Adele Hemsworth. This piece is called Lashes. I don't know, Adele's not here. Adele lives in Saugerties. This is pastel. And Adele's been doing some really wonderful portraits of animals, really gorgeous work. The next artist, this is Jeanette Cahill. I believe I pronounced that right. This is called Cheyenne Spirit. It's pastel, 8x8, created in 2020. And then the second is called Rudbeckia in a vase, or Rudbeckia and vase. It's oil on canvas, 14x18. These two pieces are by Suzanne Kirchner, and these definitely have the orange theme to them. There were a few that I brought in that were very orange, and then others that I brought in that just sort of hinted orange. That's sort of what I do with a lot of the color shows. This piece is called Lava. It's acrylic, India ink, and copper leaf on cradle panel. It's 24x24. And then the second piece is called Vin's Room. Acrylic also. This is acrylic, India ink, and copper leaf on cradle panel. This is by 24x24 as well. And then I just want to just move in here a little bit so you can see some of the detail. It's all squiggly lines, the squiggly lines. David Kleiner didn't get much orange juice. I was surprised actually that I was expecting to get some orange juice containers, but I didn't get much, and I saw this and just loved it. I think it's a classic painting. His name is the artist's name is David Kleiner. Lives over in Stone Ridge. This is a second piece by David. This is oil on canvas, 30x40, more of an abstract piece, or it is an abstract piece, and this piece is untitled. Jeffrey Langford. Jeffrey, are you here? There you are. Oh, wow, this is not a, let's see if the other one is better. No, they're really small. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna have to get a higher resolution up on here. Well, do you want to say something about them? You're muted. You need to unmute. Jeffrey.
Yeah, I sort of I was curious about this because when you sent out the call for different kinds of work, I believe the DPI that you suggested was so tiny. I was confused, so I thought I was going to hear back from you asking for a higher res photo. But so clearly these are almost unlookable. I'm sorry about that. But you know, when you say to a photographer orange and it's this time of year, of course, everybody thinks of foliage, and we've seen some great fall foliage pictures here today. And I too get very excited about that. But the other thing that comes to mind, of course, all year round is sunsets. And these were two that I did. This one happened to be in California. These trees you can't see here are those kinds of sort of pine trees that get swept by the wind on the California coast. And then there's a lighthouse over here. So kind of silhouette against the setting sun. And then the other one was shot in Arizona. This is a sunset in Arizona, but it's also impossible to look at. So I'll pass.
All right, thank you. I'll get that changed. I'll get that changed, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Apologies. Okay, this is by Mike Peruta. Mike is Mike La Peruta, I'm sorry, is an artist here in Mount Marion, which is a little ways from Saugerties. This is a sculptural piece. Reminds me a little bit of the Doctor Is In on Peanuts, so it had a definite nostalgic appeal to me. The next piece, this next piece is by Barbara Tepper Levy. I'm sorry, I just closed that by mistake. It was a collage piece with a little strip of orange, and the piece is called Slice of Orange. This piece right here is by Yvette Lewis. It's called Reflection. And I am going to read something that Yvette had left for me to read about her work. The strong element in my work is the color orange and related hues and values of orange, from yellow to red, from pale to vibrant. Orange expresses the power of the feminine in life and in nature. This color expresses warmth, as in holding and caring for some part that is hurt or damaged and needs healing. Orange very often is in contrast to green as an aspect of this caring and healing in nature and in the energy field. This is a monotype showing the fruit of life held in the healing color of green. Actually, this is the monotype. This is called warmth. The next two pieces are by Colleen Linebury. Colleen is an artist living in New Jersey, in Lincroft. Both of these pieces are oil, CWM oil stick, and oil on paper. They're smaller pieces, 7x5 framed to 11x14. So this is the first piece, and this is the second piece called Silent Messages. Eileen uses a lot of cold wax also. Linda Linton. Linda, are you here? Did I see you? No. Okay. This is a piece by Linda Linton. Linda lives in Woodstock. Linda uses quite a bit of different materials, pastels. This piece is called, this is a oil on canvas, and it's called Tide Out. Kathleen McKenzie. Kathleen. It was good to, I was really pleased when I saw this piece come in, Kathleen. I love this piece.
Oh.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Please, welcome, Kathleen. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert, for including me. I have always thought of orange as a bright, vibrant color, but I went to an exhibition over in Hudson of Ellsworth Kelly, and it was with Shaker Furniture, and he did a print with bright orange, and it was like a Japanese geisha fan, very elongated, and underneath it was a shaker table, very minimal. And I held on to that orange color, and I wanted to reverse the my imagination of what orange is. I have been very affected by the immigrant imprisonment of children. I grew up in the Bronx, and I grew up with basically all immigrant, children of immigrants. I was a child of an immigrant as well, or of two immigrants. And touched me so deeply. I took a photograph, which I often do in my work, in my paintings, and my drawings, appropriate images from family photographs. And I had a picture of my sister, and I wanted to do what Ellsworth Kelly did, and I often do, I'm attracted to that, of finding the significant details in a photograph that will convey an emotion. And the sorrow I have felt for these children that are imprisoned in our country reflected my own history and my sister's history. And I wanted to reverse the imagination to see orange as a color of sorrow and fear and deep loss, the loss of family. And so that is why I used orange, and the detail doesn't tell us who this immigrant child is or could be. Although it's a picture from the 1950s, it does have that kind of reflection, deep reflection on loss and family longing. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a gorgeous piece.
Oh, thank you.
It's haunting when you look at the name of the piece and sort of put it in that context also.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Marjorie Maggot, this is called Tulips in the Snow. Always a pleasure to have Marjorie here. Here you are.
Thank you.
All right, come on up.
All right, thank you. But I've been thinking a lot about orange, obviously, since you put the call up, and I use a lot of red and a lot of yellow and a lot of pink, but I don't think that normally I use that much orange, and I don't really know why. I mean, I find a little piece of orange here and there in paintings. So this particular painting was something I had painted a while back in oil in a class, actually, but I didn't really like it too much. The tulips felt very restrained. And so I kind of painted over and made it more, I wanted to make it more vibrant and more alive and just more sensual. And I think that happened. So I'm glad about that. And the other painting is something I did specifically for this show. And I had a wonderful array of zinnias this year in my garden, and they were red and they were orange. And so I concentrated on the orange with the yellow and the red kind of went to the background. But I think I'm more conscious now of orange and what that means. I haven't quite figured out what the emotional context of orange yet, but I'm working on it.
It's a curious color, yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's not. A friend of mine this morning emailed me and said, "Oh, orange, that's my favorite color." And I thought, well, it's not my favorite color. No, I mean, I usually think of red or hot pink, you know. But anyway, the addition of orange has been a very fruitful one. So I thank you, as always.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Love what came out.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Marjorie. This is Jeff Mann. Is Jeff here?
I'm here.
Oh, I'm going to pull you up. And I'm sorry, this is sideways. I'm not too sure why. But let's, I know there's some other images also.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me pull.
Just turn sideways. Okay.
Yeah, there's some other images that are. Oh, let me go back. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I will give a better idea. There we go. Okay, we'll bring this one up. There you go.
Okay.
Well, welcome.
Okay, great. Thanks. And thanks for doing this. Just wanted to say a couple things that I want to talk about. And one is my using car parts, and the other one is the method I use, which I call response. And so car parts I use because I think there's too many cars in the world, and they're part of the advantage of that for me is I get tons of parts to work with. So I go to transmission shops a lot and get parts from them. And I use other parts too. So there's a shovel in this one, but I like working with the car parts a lot, in part because I see cars as kind of malignant and want to make something benign out of them. And so it's kind of like, you know, plowshares, swords in the plowshares or something like that. And I work structure first. So I use what are called separator plates out of an automatic transmission to make this. And I wanted, and I used two identical ones and welded them together. And that's another nice thing with car parts, you can get a lot of symmetry out of them. And then I used the orange because I wanted something hard. I wanted a hard color to be very metallic looking, but not be too outrageous, or like what red would probably be just kind of too dominant. So the orange was a good choice for that. And another thing about this piece is I like, you know, not all the time, but when I can, to bend and shape and cut out of a single piece. And so the ears are actually just the top part bent over. And there's other parts I'll do that with too, where I force the metal into the shape so that nose is actually not added on. It's like crunched up underneath to get that nose that way. So then we could talk about the second one.
Second one is leopard.
Yep, that's leopard. And leopard is what's called a valve body out of an automatic transmission. And the designs on there are just exquisite. This one has the symmetry to it because I sliced a shape in two. And so you're seeing the front and the back of the valve body in there. And I used the orange because I wanted to highlight the pattern. And so the orange really contrasted with the black in the background. And that's what I used to get that look. And all of these pieces, oh, and by the way, that's part of an exhaust system for the nose. But all of these pieces are done by response. So when I started this piece, or when I started Tiger, I had no idea what it was going to be. I simply take the piece and I look at it. Many times I have other parts to work with. Both these happen to be fairly simple in the number of parts in them, but sometimes it's many, many parts. But I just start with a part and I let it tell me what it wants to be. I know I've got the idea of a mask out there somewhere, but I don't know what it's going to be. I didn't know this was going to be a tiger. I simply wanted to work with that texture and figure out a way to work with that texture. And so that's really how I work. No narrative, no storytelling, no representation. I let them become, they just become what they're going to be. So that's the method.
It's
for me.
They're fantastic. Just the whole organic element to them, and just seeing, I really like when people can pull art out of everyday objects or recycled materials. So when I saw these come in, I was so pleased to get them. Thank you,
Okay,
Jeff.
great.
Really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ellen Martin. Welcome, Ellen. Good to see you. I'm going to bring you up here. And this is from Ellen's Abandoned series. Ellen and I have known each other for quite some time. We've worked on a number of projects together down in Red Bank, New Jersey. And one of the galleries I worked at, I had done a solo show for Ellen on her Abandoned series. So this is one of the pieces from that series. So welcome, Ellen. And
hi, Robert.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And thank you so much for everything that you do. I know it's a lot and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So this is a very secret building because I saw it taking Amtrak from Baltimore back home to New Jersey about 5 years ago. And I just recently made the same trip and the building is still there. The building actually is orange, believe it or not, and it extends either way. It's quite a large building. I really don't love the color orange, although recently I've been doing a lot of sunrises on the ocean. But I didn't really even like this piece until I started scratching into it, which is something that I did a lot with when I was painting. I used a lot of the sgraffito technique, and I made a point of different textures in the scratching on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the piece. So it's really a one-of-a-kind piece, which I'll never do again. And, I just like the different elements were actually right there for me without my doing anything. The graffiti over here was interesting, the doors, the openings, and it was all just done in a flash. When you're on the train, you see something and you just have to, have your camera ready and hope you capture the image before it just flies by, really.
It's one of my favorite from the series, and I really think that the scratching really adds to that kind of rush by kind of feel to it.
I do too. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. Good to see you, Ellen. Thank you.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Oh, we'll talk soon.
Yep.
All right. Next artist. This is Laura Martinez. It's a long piece. I can't get that blue off. I'm so sorry about the blue lines there. Happened once before. This is Laura Martinez Bianco. This is called Dawn. It's an encaustic piece created in 2019. It's 6 by 12, and Laura lives in Marlboro, New York. This next piece is by Kate Masters. Kate lives here in Saugerties. I know her mostly as a watercolor artist. So this is mixed media. This is called Frantic. It's 10 by 14, created in 2019. This is a fun piece. This is by Brian McCormick, and this is a functional guitar. Brian lives in Bound Brook, I think, New Jersey. Bound Brook, yes. So this is called Orange Slice Guitar. It's an acoustic guitar, glue and paint, and it's the size of an acoustic guitar. I'll show you the back. This is the back. So it's a functioning guitar. I did a recycled show last year, or maybe it was the year before, and Brian had a piece in it that was a guitar that was lined in sardine cans. It was really wonderful. Lynn McCreary. Lynn, come on up. And this piece has sold. Happy to say. Sorry to say to anyone who was interested in purchasing it. Here you are, Lynn. You're on mute. I'm going to pull you up.
I think
There you are.
I am muted.
No. Sorry, I got Ingrid on here now.
Not to speak.
Here you are. Hold on.
Are we there?
No, I'm looking for it. Oh, here you are. I guess I see you. Okay, great. Welcome.
Hi. FYI, the blue line that's there, I know how it got there because the last one from the black and white show,
yeah,
I did it.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you how it happens. If you're trying to get on and figure out what's going on with Zoom, there's a part where it shows like a pen or a pencil.
Yeah.
And if you touch the screen, because I was trying to move the screen, if you touch the screen and that's up, you leave a line.
Okay. I'll have to figure that out. Thank you.
Yep. Anyway, this piece sold. A friend of mine actually saw it. I had posted that it was going to be in this show on my Instagram, and one of the artists from Instagram got in touch with me and said, "What size is this and how much is it?" So I told him that it was going to be in the show and that he had to wait. And he clicked on yesterday morning and bought it. But yep. the story behind this piece actually is, I don't know if anybody else to activate their canvas does like the big kind of swirly lines and then start kind of painting in, the spaces. That's how I had started this piece. And it was with really bright, like fluorescent colors and stuff like that. And I started just adding layers of gestural marks and then doing, smaller detailing type marks and then adding more gestural marks. And so it was a lot of layering that was done on this piece. So there's texture that was built up from the layering. The orange, actually, I felt kind of went, because it was one of the last larger gestural strokes that I put on there. And I just liked the way it looked with the rest of the colors. So there's no like soul searching crazy thing behind this piece other than I thought it was visually pleasing and fun to do. So that's it.
Lynn has a lot of, she's got a lot of movement and a real great use of color in her work. There's a few pieces on Artsy of Lynn's, but you're going to be seeing more of Lynn's coming up on Artsy. Thanks, Lynn. Good to see you. And I'll see you on Saturday.
Yep.
Excellent. This is Elizabeth McGiff. Elizabeth, are you here? I don't know if you were joining us. I thought you were. Maybe you're not. But this is a set of plates, actually. It's a set of 6. And it's perfect if you, if you have a little cocktail, little champagne flute, and some snacks. You can carry them all at once. I'll give you some little details here about these. So this is Elizabeth. Next we have John Melville. John is an artist here in Saugerties. John does, he's a frame maker as well. So this piece is called Orange Outie. It's a mixed media collage and it's 4.5 by 6. This next piece by John is, John puts a lot of old advertisements in his work as well. It's called Lila Arrows Paved with Orange. This is 4.25 by 6 as well from 2008. This is Wilma Miller. I did get a number of, understandably, pumpkin submissions as well. Didn't really take that many, but I like this a lot because it was really focusing on the stem. And it's called It's All About the Stem. It's an acrylic on canvas. It's 12 by 12, and Wilma lives in Woodstock. This is a piece by Michelle Moran. It is called Bountiful. Michelle lives in Woodstock as well. This is oil on canvas, and this is 12 by 12 too, or 12 by 2 also, 12 by 12 also. Anne Morris. Anne is a artist in Woodstock. This is alcohol ink on Yupo. I'm really liking the way artists are using Yupo lately. It's a material that I wasn't that familiar with a couple years ago, but since I've been up here, I've been learning a lot more about Yupo. Andrea is a great, actually turned me on to Yupo, Andrea Geller. So it's a great material to use, and the alcohol ink runs perfectly on Yupo. And I'm going to be doing a display of some of Anne's sculptures in the window in November. So have a look out for that. Ingrid, welcome. This is Ingrid Niter. Ingrid has 2 pieces in the show. Welcome, Ingrid.
Hi.
I love these little pieces. I especially like the little pear piece.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
So my name is Ingrid Nichter, and I have 2 works in the show. Both of them use mixed media on canvas, primarily molding paste and handmade papers, which I paint with acrylics and paint markers. Orange as a color to me feels, very vibratory, like almost portentous. It's an excellent apocalyptic color. Okay, so the first piece here up on the screen is titled A Pair of Concentric Circles. And this one's an abstraction of a previous work, which had a similar composition, but 2 people in the center instead of a pair. And that one was titled A Couple of Concentric Circles. And it was about looking at a couple and seeing their relationship sort of simultaneously through 2 different lenses, one on top of the other. You can't really separate out the views. You can't look at one of them, look at them through only one circle. And in this piece, that pair of people kind of became a pair of the fruit, and it's still inside the same pair of concentric circles. And the other piece is titled Look Out for Precipitation, and it has googly eyes because I love googly eyes. The cloud here represents the non-physical self, sort of all the thoughts and emotions and memories that sort of make up a person. And I painted this over top of an old painting about a night at an outdoor ice rink in Philadelphia. And you can kind of see the old painting through the paper circles in the cloud, which is kind of how memory works. Sometimes memories aren't really so much clear pictures of something. They're more like bubbles of colors and bits and pieces of moments. So that's a little bit about my work. Thank you, Robert, for hosting this. It's a fabulous show, and I am thrilled to be a part of it. And I cannot hear you. There you go.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have your work here. I really like your work a lot. And when I saw these come in, they were perfect. So thank you. And I'll pronounce your name correctly the next time.
No worries.
Yeah, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your names. All right, wonderful. Will,
I did.
say something? Are you here? You're on mute. You got on mute.
Hear me?
Yep, there you go. Welcome, Will Nixon.
Thank you.
Writer and photographer.
Yeah.
So tell us about this piece.
It's New York City street scene, and I was just trying to get a fresh angle on it. I kept trying to get that street light as low as I could in the frame. The whole issue of orange, I can't say I thought about it until afterwards. I showed this to a photography salon, and someone said orange was a hard color to photograph, or an unusual color to photograph. And ever since then, I've had an eye out for orange. And I see it all over the place in Kingston on those little traffic safety cones.
It's interesting that, you know, now that it's in your mind, you'll start seeing orange all over the place. It's again, it's
Yep.
one of those colors that I just sort of forgot about.
Yep.
But now I'm seeing them all over. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Sandra Nystrom, are you here, Sandra? I hope you are. Because you were one of the reasons why I first started seeing orange. It was the abstract show beginning of the summer, and you had a gorgeous, two gorgeous orange pieces. One of them was called The Power of Orange. They're both on Artsy Still as part of the abstract show. And I thought it was wonderful, your use of orange, and then just started paying attention to orange, and here we are full circle. So that is, this is one piece by Sandra, and then this is the second piece, The Hidden Beauty of Orange. Both of the works, they are oil on paper, both created in 2020. Nancy O'Hara. Nancy is a really wonderful abstract artist over in Germantown across the river. These are both oil on paper. This is called Stacked, and then the other is called Orange 2. And Nancy's got a great use of color. Harold Olejard, I'm sorry. Harold, are you here? I thought I saw you come in. No, maybe I was mistaken. Okay. Harold has a great sense. This is all computer generated, and he'll take an image and sort of make almost like a kaleidoscope kind of feel to it. Harold, let me see if I have something here. Yeah, what I would say is the limitations on travel because of the pandemic inspired me to do more local photography. My trips to my local food markets became an opportunity to take pictures. The displays of fruit and vegetables were the most compelling. I then edited my supermarket photos, creating slices of photographs that are repeated and rotated. Repetition of colors and forms encourages viewers to focus on the relationships of the objects to itself and the other objects in the image. The images are about differences and similarities, repetition and patterns. Rather than experience a field of vision, viewers are brought into a vortex of shapes, colors, objects, flora and fauna, and of course, oranges and tangerines. So this one is the orange piece, and this Oranges of Mineola, it's called, and this is called Tangerines. And Harold lives in Tenafly, New Jersey, in northern New Jersey. Our next artist is Deb Ando. Deb, are you here?
I am, Robert, thank you.
All right, let me see if I can find you. Wave for me. Oh, there you are. Okay. Let me bring you up on screen, and welcome. Tell us about this piece.
Thank you, Robert. This is oil on a wood panel. I like to use raw, unfinished wood panels. It's titled Summer. It's part of a series of paintings that I'm creating that express different elements of nature. For this painting, I followed the grain on the wood, let it guide me, and then the paint started finding its own voice. Sky and horizon revealed themselves first, and then the water. The water really surfaced when I started using the palette knife. The palette knife, I finished the painting using the palette knife, and that brought all of the other colors into being with a kind of fierceness. The orange was insistent in this painting. You can feel the heat, and also I hope you can feel a hopefulness. I feel hopeful when I look at this painting. The orange is guiding us into tomorrow, which is just waiting right there on the horizon.
Nice.
So thank you, Robert, and thank you for including me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you. Good to meet you virtually.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, the next piece is by, let me see here. Diana Papazian. I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly too. Diana, are you here?
I am. Hi.
Okay, let's find you. Give me a little wave here.
Um,
Oh. Oh, I see you. Great. Okay, here we go. All right, welcome, Diana. And did I pronounce your name correctly?
if you said Papazian, yes.
Okay, all right.
In case you're wondering, I am gallery sitting, which is why I'm wearing this thing. I had a mask on earlier too. So I will be quick. The painting is actually in the background. I brought it with me to the gallery today. Let's see. I just started painting again, actually because of the pandemic. I had stopped painting and went into jewelry design for many years. And then once the pandemic hit and we were quarantined, I guess nobody was buying jewelry. So I decided to start painting again. So I am absolutely thrilled that, you know, only a few months in, I was included in this gallery. So I'm very grateful. This is open to interpretation. When I first started painting it, I had one thing in mind. You know, for me, it was kind of a forest at sunset. And then once I added the gold lines, it became something completely different for a lot of people. And I was asking people what they were seeing. And most people said, you know, they see a cityscape. Some people, of course, naturally were saying it reminds them of the fires. And so I'm leaving it up to interpretation. I call it The Sky's Burning. It's acrylic on canvas. And I actually use some gold markers as well to add those lines. It's a 16 by 20. And orange is a color that I love, but orange and green is not a combination that I had ever done before. So it was definitely outside my comfort zone. And I made this specifically for, with the hope of getting into the exhibit. So I'm really thrilled that, that it made the cut.
It's a beautiful piece. And I really, the green works well with it. I think they balance each other off nicely. You're right. I wouldn't think that would be, you know, a color combination that would work, but
right.
Yeah.
Right. And the gold, I think the gold really, I sat on it for a couple of days and I was like, something's missing. And then when I added the gold, it really made a huge difference. So I think it really does a good job separating the colors there.
Well, thanks for joining us, Diana.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, these are two pieces by Suzanne Parker. This piece is Orange You Glad. It's spray paint on Yupo, again, Yupo. And then the second piece is called Summer Storm. It's spray paint on canvas. And Suzanne does a lot of work with wood and also recycled materials. So this is a little different from the work that I know of Suzanne's. The next piece is by Carol Pepper Cooper. Carol, are you here? I thought I saw you.
I am, thank you.
All right, let me see if I can find you here. Keep talking or waving.
Okay, I can keep talking.
Okay, great.
Okay. It's a pastel piece, which I actually started a few years ago. For about 40 years, I was a painter, and I've only fairly recently turned to pastels, and so I'm still exploring them. But when I first began Autumn on My Mind, which is the title of this piece, I was thinking about really just about capturing the colors of the fall, a moment in time when you see these colors. But then I began thinking about the passage of time, because that's something that's been preoccupying my thoughts for the last few years. And so this became 3 panels, which is sort of a basic way to suggest time and movement. Fall is a transitional season. And you may notice that in the left, there's a little bit of green and no white, but later on, white enters the frame to suggest the change from spring to winter. And I guess that's all that I would say right now. I'm open to questions.
It's beautiful. And I just wanted to mention the size is 8 by 24.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it looks a little larger, but it's a smaller piece.
I've been told, and particularly with some other pieces, that even though I sometimes work small, that there's a suggestion of a large scale piece, which of course pleases me greatly.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's the first time I've shown with you and the first time I've ever done exactly this kind of Zoom meeting. And I love seeing the other people's work. It's all been very inspiring, but unfortunately I have to take off right now.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. I've known your name around, and I've heard your name here and there, and it's I was really pleased to see this come in. So it's a pleasure to meet you, and hopefully we'll see you in the gallery.
I would love that. Thank you.
Bye. All right.
Bye.
Bye. These are two pieces by Susan Phillips. Again, like I said, I received a lot of oranges, but I really like this one. I thought it was some odd-shaped oranges or tangelos or tangerines or some kind of hybrid of the two. A number of years ago, I exhibited a piece of Susan's. It was a cut orange sort of sliced in half with some slices, which was really beautiful. So this it made me think of that piece. And then a second piece here, Susan does a lot of street art, street graffiti art, photographing some street scenes. So this is a graffiti piece by Susan. Again, Susan Phillips. Eileen Power. Eileen, are you here?
I am, Robert. I'll wave. And
there you are. Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back. Stunning piece. Love this. Eileen has two pieces. This is the second.
Okay, so starting with this one, it's large, so large that in a regular art supply store, I couldn't get a piece of plexiglass large enough. So I went to Woodstock Lumber and asked them if they would take a 6 foot by 3 foot plexiglass and cut it in half for me. So it's pretty big. It's the fourth of a series of very large birds, and it's a Carborundum Chincolet. And so what was fun about this was the prior ones I had done 3 other different types of birds, and I had put more traditional backgrounds. And here I decided to lose my mind and put an orange sky, which, I mean, now that we have these awful fires out west, it almost seems prescient to me. And with the help of Tony Kirk, who's a master printer, he assisted me to ink up this large Carborundum plate, and we printed onto a Chincolet, very thin, think of it as tissue paper, put wheat paste on the back, and placed them. I wanted them not only with the orange background, but I wanted them to be breaking free of the boundaries of the plate itself. And we ran it through the press, and this is the result. So I think all in, it's probably 3 feet by 3 feet. And it was just very, I don't know, liberating, a lot of fun to do.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
What about the other piece, the turnip piece?
It couldn't be more the opposite. This is a 6 inch by 6 inch, I think, oil painting on a panel. And I challenged, well, actually a friend of mine challenged me to do 30 paintings in 30 days on these little 6 inch panels. And what I decided to do is put, like fruit or vegetables on a plate, shine a light on them, and try to paint them, and just as an exercise. And eventually got bored. And so that led to, okay, well, how do I make it more interesting? And with this, I thought the orange would really liven up the composition, which is otherwise simple. I love the turnip, and I think the two things that I like the best about the painting are A, the orange background, and B, the way the highlight on the front turnip looks as if it was licked onto the turnip instead of painted. So that's what I would say about that.
They're lovely. Thank you. I'm really pleased to have them.
Thank you for having me.
Stacy Pritchard, seems like I just saw you yesterday. Welcome.
Okay,
there you go.
can you hear me?
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, hopefully this will work because like 2 minutes ago, I got a low battery thing on my phone. This is from a brand new series. As a matter of fact, I was looking at it before, today to talk about just how new it was. And yeah, they started in August. There was a bad storm that came through our area. Everybody knows, knocked down all the trees, knocked out the power for about a week or so. And one of the things that happened is there was a tree in my neighbor's yard that knocked over this wonderful wild rose bush. I discovered a nest in it as I was pruning it back to what is now regrowing because it's a wild rose bush. They do that. And it's actually, the nest is right behind me there. And so I started a series of studies of the form. It struck me how it is, of course, in rose thorns at the moment. And it's also made in a way out of destruction. So it's this soft, nurturing form made from destruction. And that's the theme and idea that has come to me so far exploring it. I have about 4 or 5 drawings so far from it. So yeah, it's beginning.
I love where it's going.
And this one is called Fire Nest. Was done with gouache about a year or so ago. I was lucky enough to chance upon a huge couple of boxes of pigment that was being sold in bulk for like $75. And this is out of some of the orange pigments, handmade gouache that I've done from it.
Wow, nice. I've known of Stacy's work for a while from, working in New Jersey. And one of the things that I've been wanting to exhibit is some of her rabbit work. She has a whole series of rabbits. So we're going to be doing that next month as part of the Tell Me a Story show.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm really, really pleased to have your work here, Stacy.
Thank you.
It's good to see you yesterday.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks so much. All right. Next we have Regina Quinn. Regina, I think I saw you.
Yes, I'm here.
2 minutes ago.
I'm good. Do you see me?
I see you. Here you are. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Welcome back.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so great to be here and to see everybody's amazing work.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 pieces in the show.
Okay.
And I have a couple of pieces that I had intentionally created for the show that didn't make it into the show.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, what that gave me was the opportunity to think about, first of all, orange is not a color that I typically use as a main color in my work. I use alizarin orange in almost every piece, but kind of as a blended color. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking about these 2 pieces, and I think the thing that they have in common is they're both rooted in my connection to the natural landscape, and they're both not representative of any kind of recreation of that landscape, but more a memory something that was like particularly evocative. And for the first one that you showed, which is called Mist over Grand Prismatic Springs, last year I had the opportunity to visit Yellowstone National Park with my daughter. And I was really excited about seeing the wildlife and that kind of thing. And, you know, I knew of the geysers and the geothermal features, but frankly, I wasn't that interested in them until I encountered them in person. And this piece, we went to Grand Prismatic Spring, and Grand Prismatic Spring is like really like these intense colors that, but we saw it on this day that was misty and everything was muted. And so the spring itself was just like prismatic mist. So I've been trying, like, over the course of this year to, how do I create the experience that I had, which I felt was like my life changed just standing there before these springs. How do I bring them to my work? And while I was there, seeing in the foreground these, what they call microbial mats, which are like these beautiful oranges that if you look at them, I would have thought that it was just like some incredible mineral type thing that I was seeing. But I found that they were, all of these colors I was seeing were part of these microorganisms that are fundamental to life on our planet. And so, look, I just haven't stopped thinking about that since then. So that's, you know, the orange in here are these microbial mats. And in my other piece, I don't typically paint like things that I think of as pretty, but things that evoke a deep feeling in me. And thinking about flowers in rain and as they are decaying is more evocative to me. And so this piece is really about this flower that's kind of fading, that's in the mist of rain. So that's how these two pieces are connected.
They're wonderful. And then here's again the connection between green and orange working so well.
And one other thing, Harold Olejars or Olejars, who is kind of before us, noted in the chat window that he hadn't been, this piece hadn't come up. So I just wanted to say, you know, in case we jumped over him, we could go back to,
we did actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This had come up already.
I'm sorry. He missed it, I missed it.
Although, Harold, if you want to come up and say something,
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yeah, have it. Come on up. So tell us about your process, if you don't mind, Harold.
Okay, sure. Yeah, sorry, I just stepped away at the wrong moment.
That's okay.
Yeah, I just take pictures. With COVID, I've been doing all the shopping. So going to the supermarket and taking pictures of fruits and vegetables. And what I basically do is I take one of my images, I edit it, I turn it into a slice, so to speak. And then I repeat it and twist it and turn it, I guess, so that I wind up with an image that has a lot to do with repetition and pattern. And also you're looking at the differences between, there we are, this. You're looking at the differences between one orange and another orange, or one item in the image and another item in the image. The images are done digitally, obviously, and they can be printed on anything from, you know, an 8x8 paper to, I've been printing things 20x20 on aluminum now. And I'm just, you know, involved in creating sort of a vortex where it's kind of like a continuous flow of an image within itself. So it almost becomes hypnotic.
I would think that these would probably print really well and look really, really nice on aluminum.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm really pleased with that
Yeah.
sort of the sheen that it has from aluminum.
Well, they're very cool, Harold. I mean, Harold's been in a few shows before. Some of his work is up on Artsy with different themes. There's a great Brooklyn Bridge one, some Ferrari ones. So please have a look.
Thanks a lot, Robert.
I'm
Thanks
glad
for
we
all
caught
your
you,
work,
Harold.
man.
I'm
Thanks
glad-
to Regina.
Yes, thank you. Elaine, I saw Elaine here. Here you are. You're on mute, Elaine.
Okay. Hi, Robert.
Great. Hi, Elaine.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is very different for you. I don't, I'm learning about your abstract side lately, which I didn't know before.
Yeah. I don't do it that frequently, but this one has to do with the environment. It's called Fractured. And I feel lately that, with this COVID and the environmental situation, that this, for me, expressed that. And it happened to have a lot of orange in it.
Yeah. And then this second piece is more of what I know your work to be. And again, I got a lot of oranges submission, and this was one of the ones that I chose to represent the fruit oranges.
Yeah, I love painting fruits and flowers. That's my first love. And I love like setting up a still life and having the real life thing there, because to me, orange, I love that color of orange, and you just feel it while you're painting it. And especially in the winter time, the still lifes are, you can just take something out of the fridge or off your counter and do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're lovely.
Thank you.
And there's a number of Elaine also has been in a number of shows, so there's quite a bit of her work you can see on Artsy as well, and then she'll be in the Tell Me a Story show too. That's coming up next month. Great to see you, Elaine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have work by Deborah Ramston. This is Cooper Lake Reflections. It's digital photography. Deborah lives over in Bearsville, New York. So this is a very local scene. And then this is San Miguel Street. Deborah spends a lot of time down in Mexico in San Miguel Allende. So this is digital photography as well. This is from 2016. The next two pieces are by Kenneth Ricci. Kenneth is an artist that's living in New York City. These are traditional collages. They're 9x6. This is just simply titled number 13. And this one is number 15. And I really like how he brings a lot of the classic elements into old newspapers and photographs into his collage work. This is work by Tad Richards. This is called Apples, Oranges, Pears in a Deruta Bowl. Tad has been really fooling around with a lot of digital work for the last couple of years, and I think he does a really fantastic job. The next piece is called Three in Doorways, San Miguel.
But that's the same one.
Yeah, that's the same one. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me move on to the next. This is Yvonne Rojas Cowan. Yvonne lives here in Saugerties. This is called Modern Loneliness. It's mixed media, 30x40. The next two pieces are by Susanna Ronner. Susanna lives in Woodstock. This is Untitled, or is this Slice? Yeah, this is Untitled. These are monotypes, 4x8. Susanna creates a lot, like a lot of the artists here at the Woodstock School of Art. So this is one of the pieces, and then this is the second. This is called Slice. And again, I really like how just that little slice of orange pops through. Oh, and there's that green-orange combo again. Once somebody points it out. This piece is by Susan Rothkopf. I've known Susan from when I ran the gallery in Red Bank, so I was really pleased to see this come in. Susan lives in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. This is called Orange Now, and it's a pastel piece. It's 9 by 12. Marilyn Rowley. Marilyn lives here in Saugerties. These are both pastel, ink, and acrylic. This is called Free at Last. It measures 8 by 10. And then this one is called Making Waves. Again, pastel, ink, and acrylic. And this one is 10 by 7.5, so 10 by 8. Okay. Let me transition screens here. So just give me one quick moment to bring these up. Oh, where are we? Okay, great. Well, we saw these. We saw a couple of these. Sorry about that. I'm a little Eileen. There's Deborah. Oh, here's Tad's other one, 3 in a Doorway, San Miguel. This is a digital piece as well. Yvonne, Marilyn. Okay, here we go. Back on track. Okay, Kelly Sansone. Kelly, I saw that you were here. Let me find you.
Great blue shirt.
Here you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly. I am.
Welcome, Kelly.
Hi. I am in Virginia. I work with acrylics. I don't typically do abstract work, but with the pandemic and all the emotion going on for everybody these days, I've felt the need to just free flow on the canvas. And this piece is sort of like showing what lies beneath, the beauty that you can find. I tend to be very shy and insecure about my work. And this year I've really been trying to get it out there to the public. So I'm showing the beauty that I have been hiding behind everything for the last several years. So I don't typically work with orange, but as soon as I saw this call for art with the color orange, I was just drawn to it and said, you know what, I'm gonna try it. And this piece came just right in my head and out onto the canvas, and I'm just so pleased with it. I love using modeling paste when I do break into abstract work because it allows for a lot of texture, kind of draws your eye all over the place to see lots of different things that you wouldn't typically notice.
Is that modeling paste in the center there?
Yep, all the gold there is the modeling paste.
Lovely. Really nice. Great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
This next piece is by Karen Schaffel. Karen lives in Coteville, New York. And actually, Karen gave me a little video of her talking about this piece that I'm going to play. If I can bring it up. All right, great.
Hi, I'm Karen Schaffel, and this piece is Golden Day. It's 24 inches by 24 inches, mixed media on cradle board. It is currently part of Orange Juice, an expedition for Emerge Gallery that's online now. There's a lot of interesting areas in this piece that really highlight my mixed media process. I use an acrylic medium and I mix in pigment to get the bright colors in this piece. There's a lot of beautiful colors and layering. I layer in paper, shiny objects, I stencil, Sometimes, like in the case of these trees, I might dye or paint fabric to layer in, and I create space and abstraction simultaneously using the multi-layers. I like how the layers allow some things to come through while other pieces are opaque. I like the texture that it creates, even if I completely paint over some layers. And sometimes the paint is really just on the surface. The whole piece is then sealed in an acrylic medium to keep everything from shifting or changing. These pieces are on cradle boards, so they do not need a frame. They're ready to hang, and they can go right on your wall. I actually like them better without a frame. Most of my work starts with a landscape idea. It's not a particular place, but perhaps a time of day or a season or a moment or a memory. But soon I just get lost in the process of color and layering and exploration. Thank you.
Nice, perfect. Thank you, Karen. And this is Karen's piece. All right. Next, we have two pieces by Martina Sestakova. Martina was in my my last show. Martina lives in Kensington, Maryland. So this is called Learning to Thrive. And then the second piece, or that was called The Call is Inside the House. This is Learning to Thrive. Again, Yupo. You know, people are getting some really great effects with using Yupo. So this is another Yupo piece. Elizabeth Schaefer, really pleased to have this. I love this piece, Elizabeth. And I saw you here, so let's bring you up. Yep, you're on mute. You need to unmute, and then yeah, tell us about this piece.
Thank you. Well, hi. I did this a long time ago. Orange happens to be my favorite color, as you could probably tell from what I'm wearing. And this piece was a I did this before I realized that blue was the complementary hue for orange, and I've always thought of orange as a very vibrant color, but here the model's contemplative mood I think acts as a good foil for the vibrancy of the color. And the bolster, she's leaning on a bolster, which as you can see from the left hand part of the canvas, but it has a kind of ambiguous air to me now, as though it's a figure looking up at her. Thank you very much for including me in the show. I do love orange, and I'm so glad that you had this as a theme for this show.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. I'm really pleased. Thank you, Elizabeth. Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Okay, the next artist that we have is Alexandra N Sherman. Welcome, Alexandra. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
So this piece is called My Passion, and it's from my Altered States series. And these are watercolor on Yupo. They're 12 by 9 inches, so not very large. And I kind of consider them a collaboration between myself and water and the pigment. The paper, if you're not familiar with Yupo, is non-absorbent, so the water sits on top and takes a very long time to dry. And these pieces are painted basically from my subconscious. I begin by laying down just a dab of paint, and the color choice is usually intuitive based on my mood. And I'll lay maybe 2 or 3 down, and then I will soften my gaze, and then all of the sudden a figure begins to emerge. And because the paper is non-absorbent, you can wipe away the paint here and there and get some interesting, the figure can shift and change. And so it's just this back and forth between myself and the pigment and the water. The orange, for me, I think it's such a passionate color. It has so much energy, and this figure is kind of burning with energy and passion and movement. And so, and the black and the touches of yellow also kind of hint at fire, which I think of when I'm thinking about orange. So.
Another person using Yupo. I didn't realize really how many artists I've been, how much Yupo I've selected. So maybe perhaps there's a Yupo show coming up. Thank you, Alexandra.
Thank you.
Beautiful. The next 2 pieces are by Rita Sherry. This is called Abstract Cow. It's a mixed media piece. Rita lives in Kingston, New York. The second piece is called Mountain Rhino, again, mixed media from 2016. This is Sunset Stroll, oil on paper. It's by Roberta Sickler. Roberta lives over in Bearsville. This is 14 by 11, and Roberta, one of my favorite abstract artists in the area. Cecilia Sinclair, this is oil on canvas. Really beautiful. Well, it's sky or landscape. I mean, there's definitely a abstract element to it. It's oil on paper. Oil on canvas, I'm sorry, it's 6 by 18, and Cecilia lives in Hudson. Janet Siskin, who also lives in Hudson, this is called Quietly. It's a monotype that measures 11 by 14, created in 2020. And then this second piece is a viscosity print called Autumn Comes. This is 12 by 12 from 1998. 2 pieces from Michelle Stopford. Michelle lives over in Rhinebeck, New York. This is called Poet's Walk. And then this second piece is called Anthropocentric Morphic Objects. Both of them are oil. This one measures 8 by 10, and Poet's Walk was 24 by 18 from 2014. Cindy Sumerano. This is a mixed media piece called Evolution. It's acrylic and mixed media on paper. Cindy lives in Hurley, New York. This measures 21 by 35. And Theodosia, are you here? Let's see. Oh, here you are. You're on mute, Theodosia. You need to unmute yourself. There you go. Welcome. Oh, you're still on mute. You have to unmute yourself. Oh, did you leave us? Okay.
Okay, did it work now?
Yep, here you are.
Okay, I got a double system here I have to play with in the studio. Thank you. I'm delighted to be part of such a great show. When your call came, Orange Juiced, I said, oh my gosh, talk about memories. From the time I can remember, every morning my mother had me drink a glass of orange juice that she freshly squeezed herself, because she was absolutely dedicated to my having strong teeth and strong bones. And she did a good job because I have strong teeth and strong bones. So I looked through my paintings to see orange, and I was amazed at how many paintings I had in which I have used the color orange. And this is an oil on canvas. Its dimensions are 16 high by 12 wide unframed. And the title is Can Can Lady. It's a painting of a joyful event in a dance hall in years gone by when there were a lot more ladies that lifted their skirts and danced the can-can. The colors are bright, there's movement throughout, and if you look carefully, you'll be able to see two abstract faces behind the dancer, referencing people who were watching the can-can. While I was once a dancer, I myself never danced the can-can, but I very much enjoyed painting it.
There's a lot of real great movement in this. And, you know, I mean, it definitely conveys the whole sense of dancing. It's really beautiful. And again, the whole combination of blue and yellow works. So I'm sorry. Yeah, blue and green, blue and orange works so well here as well. Well, good to see you, Theodosia.
Absolutely. Good luck with the exhibit.
Thank you. All right, the next work is by Pamela Tucker. Pamela is an artist over in Hyde Park, New York. This is called Samir Seated. It's oil on linen on a wood panel. This is Carl Votling. Carl lives over in Schenectady. This is called Pyrite. Oil on canvas, 18 by 24. Carl's really wonderful abstract artist. Ellen Wiedner, I'm believing I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I'm not Ellen. This is a dry point print. It's 19 by 19, and Ellen lives in New York City. Did Ellen give me something? No. Okay. Angela White. Angela does a lot of work with encaustic. This is encaustic on woods. It's called Atoms of Silence. Angela lives in Bethesda, Maryland, and I met Angela through a mutual artist friend of ours. I liked Angela's work a lot. This is a small piece. It's 6 by 6. And then we have 2 pieces by Mimi Young, some abstract work.
I'm here.
Are you here, Mimi?
Yep, I'm here.
Let me find you. Oh, here you are. I see you. I love the glasses.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for wearing orange, Robert.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
So appropriate. And thanks for including my 2 pieces in the show. And it's been really great seeing everyone's work. Lots of exciting pieces being shown. So this piece here is called Gathering Stuff, and it's 18 by 24, and it's on a cradled panel. I work predominantly with acrylic and graphite and charcoal. It looks very, very clean. It's got a lot of depth to it. I work a painting very slowly and try to eliminate as much information as I can while still trying to maintain the dynamics of the piece. Orange, I realized after the show came through that I do use orange quite a bit, all different tones and hues, either striking like this as well in the other piece or very, very subtle oranges as well. And I don't use orange for anything other than a color in the relationship to another color or to delineate one of the elements in the piece.
Oh, that's interesting. Nice. That's really interesting. Would you ever consider using color, orange as the main color?
Probably not. You know, I have done a couple of paintings where there's been a predominant color. And to me, it looks too decorative. It doesn't have as much depth or mystery as, say, like the white, which is always dominant in my work, because you can really see through the white and see the history of each piece. And like the same with this one, where you can see every element that happened before the final one, which, you know, I just don't ever know when that is actually going to happen. This one is called Days of, and it's a piece on paper. It's 26 by 36. It's behind me. The same thing, I use orange here with that acid yellow, which is like one of my favorite colors right now. It's just kind of an off, weird, almost like a dull yellow that works so well with that orange. I feel like they like really like fight each other with that little bit of turquoise. Like someone else mentioned earlier too, the turquoise and orange connection. And I forget what it was that she stated, but it was, it stuck with me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
you.
All right, and then we have one more piece left. We're going a little over on time, and this is photographed by Jay Youngdahl, and I think it's a really fun one to end on. A lot of life in this photograph. Jay lives in Oakland, California. This is called Blowing a Kiss in Cairo. And I'm going to read just a little bit of what Jay had provided to me. My photography reflects my life journey. I spent my time on this planet working on behalf of and with the lost, the least, and the last. Like the liberation theologists, I have a preferential option for the poor. Just prior to the pandemic, I took a solo trip to Egypt to enjoy its history, diversity, and color. This photo was taken on a dusty, polluted Cairo street. I was in a vehicle with my camera lens pointed out the window. This young orange seller blew me a kiss. From it, I feel the beauty, honesty, and joy of the unadorned human spirit. And with that, we are going to end this show. Really, really wonderful show. Really fantastic collection of work here. Please go to artsy.net, Emerge Gallery NY. Spend a little time with all of the work, and you'll see for yourself really just the creative ways that artists are using orange in their work. On Artsy, you'll also find some previous shows to show that this is all black and white behind me. This is the last day for today's show, but that show is up on Artsy as well. You'll see previous shows. They're archived there. You can have a look through them. The work is still available, and a couple solo shows as well. We've got, as I mentioned, Lesley Bodzy has a solo show up right now. The photography of JD Weiss, who this piece right here behind me is JD's work. She's a fantastic Woodstock photographer, so there's a solo show of her work up. Arabella Colton has a show called The Wall Dogs of San Francisco, 1990s. And in the 1990s in San Francisco, there was an artist who would just walk around painting dogs on the walls all over San Francisco, which the artist was never revealed. And it was always a little challenge for people to walk around the city and come across these. So Arabella spent a little time photographing those as well. Couple other shows too, so please have a look. The next show that opens in the gallery is called Tell Me a Story, that opens next weekend. It'll be available on Artsy, work in the gallery, and then some additional works on Artsy. This is an interactive show, so if you know of any writers, please send them our way. It's called Tell Me a Story, and it's all very narrative artwork. So the whole idea is I'm encouraging writers to come in or visit Artsy throughout the month, connect with the piece, and finish writing the stories that the artist started in their artwork. And then there'll be a virtual reading at the end of the month where writers can share the work that they've created. Did this show about 2 years ago, and it was a really successful. It got people very energized and being very creative. And at a time like this, I think that we really need ways to keep us creative. So that is that's our show. I really appreciate everyone joining us. Please have a look at Artsy. I'm having many more shows to come, so please have a look out for those. Everyone, please stay safe. Have a great week, and we'll be doing this again next week for the Tell Me a Story show. So join us again 3 o'clock next Sunday on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.